So interestingly, during COVID, the RMB has actually strengthened 12% against the US dollar. Now, this is a very interesting topic that's not really talked about. Why is that? I think it is because China is exporting inflation, particularly to the US.
Hey everybody, Economic Ninja here. I hope you're doing well. I'm really excited because today I have on Michael Wood, and Michael is the CEO of Reyna Gold. Now, if you haven't heard about it, there's a reason. It didn't exist yesterday. I'm joking, it did exist, but not on the stock exchange. It actually just started trading today. And I'm really excited because I've never gotten to really debut an IPO in the gold or mining sector. And what really gets me excited is we're going to be talking today about what's going on with China, because Michael is in China. He's actually in Hong Kong. Michael, how are you doing?
Yeah, great, Ninja. No, great to be here. Thanks for taking the time and getting the story of Reyna Gold out to all your audience. It's great to be here.
Yeah, no, I'm super stoked. We're going to be talking about China, and we're going to be talking about where you live in Hong Kong, because I think that is fascinating, because we're going to talk about inflation, the RMB that is actually gaining strength against the dollar. And but first I want to stop, because a lot of people are going, Reyna Gold, I've heard of Reyna Silver. You're right, guys. Reyna Silver is run by Jorge, and I'm completely blanking, you know me, Monroy. This is what happens, Michael, when you don't edit. Jorge runs Reyna Silver, and I really like Reyna. I don't own a Reyna Silver currently, but I am looking at that because of the work that has been done by some amazing mining analysts, and I just like the project. I also don't currently own Reyna Gold, but that's because right now Reyna Gold is not traded on a US OTC market, right? It's traded in Canada. What's the ticker real quick before we get to China?
It's REYG, REYG in Canada. We will have a US listing, but it takes 2 or 3 months after we start trading in Canada to get the US listing.
Perfect. And so I think that's good.
Kind of, April, May time, we should be live on OTC.
That's good, because, you know, I don't give financial advice, but the one thing of advice I give to people is take some time, get to know the team, get to know the project before you invest your money. Do your due diligence, because I have surely been burnt before, because I just jumped right in. So I want to talk first about Hong Kong, because you live in Hong Kong along with Jorge, right? You guys are pretty close.
Yeah, we're business partners. We met here in an MBA program in 2010. And have been working together pretty much ever since. So yeah, we're based out in Hong Kong. I've been here for 12 years. I'm originally British.
I couldn't tell.
Pretty settled. Oh no?
That's okay. You couldn't tell I was from California either, right?
I got married in California, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, before the interview, we started talking about the RMB and the appreciation against the dollar, and you had some very interesting theories that got me so fired up. And I'm not joking, guys. This is how I do things. I go, stop talking right now. We're going with this. There's no notes. And you were talking about the appreciation of the RMB against the US dollar, and your theories about what's going on behind the scenes, because you get to talk to a lot of people in China, and you have a lot of investors in your company already from China. So let's talk about that appreciation.
Yeah, so it's a topic that isn't really widely spoken about at the moment in the financial markets, and I think it's quite an interesting topic that is being overlooked. Now, the RMB is a controlled currency pegged really to the US dollar, and particularly in previous times of uncertainty, the Chinese government just pegged it, didn't really move it until the uncertainty resolved itself. Now, in COVID, interestingly, the RMB strengthened 12% against the US dollar since the start of COVID.
Wow.
Now, this is quite a change. Now, you know, there's a lot of theories on why. One is that they want to get more investment into the RMB. So they want to start to show it more as a solid currency, less volatile, more, you know, market-based. There has been quite a lot of inflows into Chinese bonds over this period, which has definitely helped strengthen the currency.
Yep.
You know, on a Chinese corporate bond, you get 4 or 5% yield. So very attractive compared to most US-based corporate bonds.
Absolutely.
That's one theory. But then the other theory, and a bit more, you know, kind of sinister, is that China is still the workshop of the world. It exports so many products, particularly to the US.
Yep.
So, you know, how could you create inflation in the US? You could start to strengthen the RMB. So, you know, we've had a 12% increase in the RMB over this period. we've had a lot of inflationary pressures just from the supply chain coming out of China. China's basically cut itself off to the rest of the world. I mean, I'm unfortunately a victim of it here in Hong Kong. I'm very restricted in my travel back into Hong Kong. I'd have to spend 3 weeks in a hotel room if I wanted to come back into Hong Kong, which is crazy. So, you know, China's basically cut itself off from the rest of the world, creating a lot of supply chain issues as a consequence. And this is really exporting inflation globally. Yeah. Now, you know, you hear that angle in the mainstream media saying, okay, you know, supply chain issues are inflationary, but I don't think it's really talked about why. So I think, you know, if you could start to get to the view, maybe, you know, China has looked at the potential weaknesses of the American system, and the financial markets is obviously a strength. But we all know if inflation rears its head, this easy monetary policy that has really stoked the financial markets for the last decade is probably going to have to, you know, change course. Yeah. So it'll be very interesting to see how things play out, particularly over the first quarter or two of 2022. You know, whether the Fed do aggressively start raising rates, whether we see a taper off. I mean, you know, this week we have the next CPI number coming out for the US. Again, projections are 6.8, same as the number for November. This will be the December number. Yep. It's a very high number. And then you get characters like Bill Ackman, you know, a very established mainstream investor, coming out and saying, well, it's not 6.8, it's 10%. If you actually use a reasonable input for housing, you know, it'd be way higher. Yeah. So
yeah. Question I got for you, that you're putting all these thoughts in my head, which is awesome. You know, to think that China wants to actually increase inflation in America in one way is to know that they sort of have us addicted on their cheap stuff, right? So let's just raise the bar up a little bit. There's another side of that story that I was thinking about, is there's a point where the Chinese people want to get rid of dollars, right? Especially if we don't taper or we keep printing money. And I see it as, what's one way? Well, real estate. We could buy American real estate. What's another way? We could buy American equities, right? And then there's that third way. And what I think, and it ties to the RMB, the gold backed currency that they're working on. And right now it's in bond form only. Have you heard anything, any scuttlebutt in China about people, like you said, you have lots of investors from China, of people possibly pushing more money into this sector, into mining stocks that are not in China?
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of money in Hong Kong actively seeding resources, not just gold, copper, uranium, silver, iron ore from Hong Kong. You know, a lot of Chinese money becomes offshore in Hong Kong, and it then is used from Hong Kong to invest around the world. That's, you know, a big way that Hong Kong is used by China.
Well, and so, let me jump in. Sorry, you are literally living, you and Jorge live in then technically the investing capital of the world, because to say that China doesn't have the most money to spend right now is probably an understatement, right? And China looks at gold differently than any other country in the world, because I'm pretty sure they still don't allow a lot of exporting of gold. They buy it all up, and they are, I still believe, the largest importer of gold too, correct?
Yeah. Pretty close with India. I think it changes kind of month to month. India definitely, like the Bali period, I think accelerates ahead. But China is the biggest producer of gold by a long way now, and is definitely a net importer. You know, I think nobody believes the official numbers the Chinese release on their gold reserves. I think everybody assumes they're a lot higher than they're officially released. But there's definitely also been a drive over the last couple of years to encourage the public to buy gold. Yeah. You know, the Chinese public. And there was a view that it was, you know, okay, let's not just have the institutions, let's get the average retail person to start buying gold and suck gold into China. Yeah. The more gold we have in China, you know, the better for the future of China. It's definitely a view that is conveyed, and you know, it's complete opposite in the West. I mean, I think, you know, I think we're starting to turn. I think there's growing interest again in gold in the US and in Europe. Definitely in Europe. I mean, we have a lot of investors also from Germany who have a strong allegiance to gold and have for, you know, a long period of time. But I think China is, you know, they've been doing this for at least a decade or so, where I think, you know, it's just really maybe the last 1 or 2 years where there's renewed interest in gold in the Western markets.
So as you were talking about the difference in the view of gold from Western to Asian markets, I'm thinking about that billboard, that famous billboard. And I'm going to see if we can throw a picture of that up, of the in China, where it says, you know, essentially, buy gold and together we'll be great. And that's a great example of the government coming out and saying, hey, let's look at the long term. Let's grow together, right? And it's not usually what people would think of when they think of China, and how they like to suppress certain things. But this, they're really not. They're coming out and saying, we're gold backing something. You guys should all buy gold. We're becoming wealthier, real wealth, gold. Did you see that too in China?
Yeah, I mean, one thing you can do on the Tencent, the equivalent of WhatsApp, the QQ messaging thing, you can just give your friend gold via the app. There's a facility where I could just send you via like a WhatsApp message some gold. And particularly at times like Chinese New Year, birthdays, it's very common that people gift each other gold, and it's physical gold. It's backed by physical gold. It's not paper virtual gold. It is physical gold backed. So
hey, it's very different. Funny story, because I don't know how much you're spending in YouTube right now. I'm gonna give a little disclaimer. WhatsApp is notorious in the YouTube comments for trying to take people's money. So guys, the ninja's not going to try and contact you and get you into WhatsApp to take gold from you. So don't do that. But it's a really good point you bring, because there's a lot of scammers in some of these things, but there's also a lot of amazing uses for these third-party apps to be able to move gold. And we're seeing it more and more between the blockchain and, like you're saying, with WhatsApp. So that's actually new info to me. So thank you. Yeah. Now let's do this. Let's jump into talking about the stock, because I've got a lot of people that were asking about Reina Silver. They like the video I did with Jorge, a couple videos now, and the work I did with Jeff Clark. That's what I was thinking of. Awesome work with Jeff Clark, because he is an independent analyst. He doesn't get any money from these companies. And Reina Silver was one of his, I think, 10 or 20 baggers. I don't remember what it was. And then Jorge called me and said, hey, we're starting a gold exploration company. So let's talk about that for a few minutes, because as this video is coming out, it will be the first day it's traded on the Toronto Stock Exchange. So what are your guys' goals? Just if you could give me a brief 35,000 foot view overview.
Yeah, great. Sure, of course. No, I mean, it's a sister company to Reina Silver. We're working with two of the world's preeminent exploration geologists, Dr. Peter McGall and Doug Cohen again. And it was really Peter's brainchild. When we were setting up Reina Silver, Peter said to Jorge particularly, we should also do gold exploration. Northwestern Mexico is wide open for gold exploration. Now, actually, it ties in a lot, Ninja, sorry, to where you are in California.
Yeah.
California, I don't know if you know the history, but California became, part of the US in 1848.
Yep.
And literally gold was announced the day America got control of the terrain.
Yep. And
there was a massive inflow. All the people who came to be known as the 49ers, about 300,000 people flocked in from all around the world and discovered, what has turned out to be about 5% of the world's gold that's ever been produced from California, Nevada, Arizona, this part of the world. Wow. Now, just south across the border, it's the same geography, it's the same land. It's really got vast potential, but it's never had anywhere near the same exploration. It's never had any kind of industrial scale exploration like across the board in America. So Peter was saying to us, this is an amazing opportunity. He's been looking at it for a long time. Peter's really been focused on silver discoveries in the past and wants to get more involved with gold. Yep. So what we've done is we've put together substantial land packages. We've got over 57,000 hectares, which is 570 square kilometers of land on the two major gold belts in northwestern Mexico, which both come down from the US. Okay. So we have the Mojave Sonora Megashare and the Sierra Madre Gold and Silver Belt. So we're initially focused on one project in Sonora. So Sonora is the biggest gold producing state in Mexico now. Between Sonora and Chihuahua, they produce about half of the gold out of Mexico every year. Mm-hmm. And we're really focused on that part of the world. So that's just kind of high level, the concept of the company. It's the same people. We have a lot of great geologists on the ground from that part of the world under the guidance of Peter and Doug. And yeah, we're very excited to start trading and finding lots of gold.
Yeah, it's funny. I grew up in Sonora, California, which touches Jamestown, California. So I grew up going through mines as a little kid, going and checking out all the old relics and literally all the old mines. I used to play on the old train tracks. And it's funny that Sonora, Mexico is that largest producer, where Sonora, California put out some of the most amazing numbers. It's just interesting they share the same name. So, yeah. So let me ask you this. In closing, what are you looking for in the next few months? Because you said that you're looking for a U.S. exchange listing, and you'd be on the OTC markets, correct?
Yeah, definitely correct. We definitely we want an OTC listing as soon as we can. We'll make the application next week as soon as we start trading, and then it's just a matter of regulatory approval.
Okay.
But yeah, we definitely want that so U.S. investors can buy in U.S. dollars I mean, I think it's always good in all kind of investments to diversify. If people are capable of buying on the Toronto Exchange and CAD, then it's always good to diversify a little bit. But we'll be announcing drill results. We'll be announcing sample results this week. Perfect. Maybe they're already actually out by the time this video airs, Ninja. Okay. So the initial sampling program, we've done over 1,300 samples since we started working on the project in the summer of 2021. Okay. And then we'll start drilling at La Gloria end of January, early February, probably the first week or two of February. We'll start mobilizing for the initial drill program. Then hopefully have initial drill results out around end of March, April time. Okay. So the terrain is very flat. It's Sonoran Desert. It's very easy to work. What we believe, we have a large disseminated gold system. We found lots of gold already, multiple different styles of mineralization in different parts of the property. So we're hopeful we'll just basically be able to have the drill rig turning constantly during 2022 and start to build up a substantial gold deposit basically during this year. Nice.
Now I had dinner with Jorge in Coeur d'Alene during the Silver Symposium back in, I believe it was August. Are you guys planning on coming to either that event or another event in America this year?
I was going to come to America on Sunday, which was the 9th, which is coming up. We're pre-recording this.
Yeah.
But I canceled because of this 21-day quarantine in Hong Kong.
What? You don't want to sit in a hotel for 21 days?
Yeah, I know. So
I think hopefully by 6 months from now, I have a weird feeling a lot of this is going to be behind us. So that's just me.
I hope so too, yeah. As soon as it is, even a week, I was happy to do 2 weeks, which was the rule up until just before Christmas.
Yeah.
But then once they made it 3, that's too much. As soon as they reduce it, I definitely will be in the US as soon as I can, like talking to people about Rent a Gold, getting the message out in both the US and Canada and Europe as well. I really want to be, traveling the world, getting the story out to investors.
Well, I'll tell you what, I just love being a part of this as far as being able to announce an IPO essentially and in the mining space, because I do believe, not professional trading advice, guys, but I think gold is just starting to wake up. It's because people are just starting to wake up to this not inflation narrative, inflation truth. So in closing, is there anything you want to lead us with before I do my famous snap?
No, that's great, Ninja. Thanks very much for your time, and a pleasure to be here. Hopefully we can come back again in the near future once we have some results from the project.
Yeah, show me the money, right? It's time. Right on. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time. Guys, check it out. I'm going to put a link in the description or in the comment section if you want to email Michael, ask any questions you want. It actually gives him lots of good ideas of things to do with getting information out to you guys. So with that being said, guys, the Economic Ninja is out.